Have you ever looked around your home and felt like your belongings were whispering stories from every corner? Not shouting, just softly tugging at you, reminding you of promises, of moments, of things once needed but no longer used. And yet, you don't move. Not because you're lazy, but because it's hard to know where to begin when everything feels connected to something. Today, I want to offer you something simple but powerful. Not a cleaning routine, not a dramatic makeover, but 9 gentle, heart centered steps to help you clear the clutter that has been silently weighing on you. By the end of this video, you won't just learn how to declutter your space, you'll begin to feel the emotional weight lifting too. We'll talk about small wins, quiet rituals, and mindset shifts that feel more like self care than chores. And one tiny trick in step 7 might just stop clutter from ever piling up again. Let me tell you about Joyce. She's 72, widowed for 5 years. Every morning she sips her tea in the same chair by the window, watching the birds flutter through her overgrown garden. Her home, once filled with the chaos of children and Sunday dinners, has slowly become still, but also heavy. Not with people, but with stuff. Boxes of memories, papers she meant to sort, drawers she hasn't opened in years. Every time she tries to begin decluttering, she stands frozen. Not because she doesn't want to do it, but because each item feels like a thread to something important, something gone. But then something changed, and it started with just one kitchen drawer. Let's take a closer look right now. 1. Start with one small win. Light one candle first. Sometimes when your house feels full of papers, of forgotten boxes, of things you meant to sort but never did, it's not the mess that's hardest to face. It's the feeling that starting won't make a difference. You stand there, heart heavy, eyes tired, wondering, what's the point if I can't finish it all today? But here's something I've learned after 7 decades of living and loving and letting go. Change doesn't begin with a grand gesture. It begins with a spark, one tiny action, one small win. It's like lighting a single candle in a dark room. It doesn't fix everything, but it changes how the darkness feels. I remember my friend Nancy, she's 68, lives alone since her husband passed, and had slowly let the clutter take over, not out of neglect, but out of grief. Every drawer she opened carried a memory. Every surface was a reminder of the life that once filled her home. When I visited, she said, I can't clean the whole house, it's too much. So I asked her to do just one thing, clear the top of her nightstand. That's it. 10 minutes, no more. She found old receipts, dusty lotion bottles, a broken lamp bulb, and one little prayer card from her wedding day. She kept the card. She lit a small lavender candle, and for the first time in months, she slept peacefully. That tiny moment was her first breath of clarity. This is how it starts. You don't need to declutter your whole home. You need to choose one drawer, one shelf, one little corner of calm. Because when you succeed at something small, it gives your heart the strength to try again tomorrow. We don't declutter to throw things away. We do it to keep only what gives back to our soul. So today, don't ask yourself what you can finish. Ask what you can begin. Light one candle first, and when it feels good, we'll take the next gentle step together. Up next, we'll talk about the simple method to sort things fast without getting lost in guilt or indecision. 2. The no-brainer. Toss. Let the easy things go first. There's something oddly comforting about certain clutter. A stack of old birthday cards, that chipped mug you haven't used in years, the stretched out socks you keep meaning to fix. They linger in corners not because they're useful, but because deciding to toss them feels like making 100 little decisions. And when you're tired or overwhelmed, even small decisions feel heavy. But here's a trick I've learned that works like a charm when the clutter feels like too much. Start with the no-brainers, the easy things, the ones you know deep down don't belong in your life anymore. You don't need to think about them. You don't need to justify. If your gut says this is trash, then trust it and let it go. My neighbor Martha, 71, told me about her clutter drawer. You know the one. Old pens that don't write, expired coupons, takeout menus from restaurants that don't even exist anymore. For months, she'd open it, sigh, and close it again. I'll deal with it later, she'd say. But later never came. Until one morning, after hearing this no brainer rule, she took a small wastebasket and just started tossing. No second guessing. No maybe pile. Gone. And something shifted. She told me, it was like I cleared more than a drawer. I cleared my head. That's the power of letting go without guilt. Because here's the truth: when we hold on to what we know we don't need, we send a message to ourselves that we can't be trusted to move forward. But when we toss even one obvious item, we reclaim a little control, a little dignity, a little peace. We don't declutter to throw things away. We do it to keep only what gives back to our soul. So today, don't start with the hard stuff. Start with the things that whisper, you know you're done with me. Clear them out gently, quietly, without fanfare, and in that space, you'll find room to breathe. Coming up, we'll explore what to do when everything feels important, even when it's not. Let's talk about clarity and kindness in the next step. 3. The 10-minute sprint, beat the freeze. You know that feeling? You walk into a room, see the clutter, and suddenly your shoulders sag, your breath shortens. You tell yourself, I should do something about this, but instead you make a cup of tea and try not to look too hard. That moment when everything feels like too much isn't about laziness. It's about the freeze, the emotional paralysis that comes when our minds are weighed down by too many choices and not enough energy. But what if I told you there's a way to unstick yourself without exhaustion, without shame, and without needing a full day to do it? Just 10 minutes. That's all. I learned this from my friend Janice, a 69-year-old widow who used to dread even thinking about decluttering. She once told me, it felt like trying to empty the ocean with a spoon. But one morning, she set a timer on her phone for just 10 minutes and said, I'll just do what I can. She didn't wait for motivation. She didn't aim to finish anything. She simply moved. And those 10 minutes, they flew by. She tossed old magazines, gathered up laundry that didn't belong, and wiped off her coffee table. When the timer rang, she felt different, lighter, more capable. The magic of a 10-minute sprint is that it doesn't ask for perfection or commitment. It only asks for presence. You move quickly without overthinking. And strangely, it becomes easier with each item you touch. You're not trying to win a war. You're lighting a spark. Set a timer. 10 minutes. Choose one spot. A nightstand, a kitchen drawer, the pile of mail you've been ignoring. Move fast. No judgment. Just action. We don't declutter to throw things away. We do it to keep only what gives back to our soul. This little sprint won't solve everything, but it can unlock your energy and restore your confidence. And when you feel frozen again, and you will, remember, you only ever need to begin, just for 10 minutes. Next, let's talk about those tricky items that seem to tug at your heartstrings and slow you down. There's a gentle way to sort through them too. Let's take a look. 4. The 3-second rule. Trust your gut. Have you ever held an old sweater in your hands, worn, out of shape, untouched for years, and still found yourself frozen, unsure whether to keep or let go? You tell yourself, maybe I'll wear it again. It was a gift. What if I regret it? And just like that, back on the shelf it goes, adding to the weight, not just in the closet, but in your heart. This is where the 3-second rule comes in. It's not a harsh rule. It's a gentle nudge from your wiser self. It simply says, if you can't decide within 3 seconds, the answer is already clear. If it brings hesitation, it likely doesn't bring value, and you don't need to carry things that don't serve you anymore. My friend Margaret, 73, used to agonize over every object she picked up. Birthday cards from 20 years ago, kitchen gadgets she never used, gifts she felt guilty discarding. She said it felt like each item asked for a story, a justification to stay. But the clutter wasn't telling her stories. It was draining her. One day, she tried something new. She held each item for 3 seconds. No drama, no overthinking. If it didn't bring joy or usefulness in that short window, it was time to let it go. She said it was like giving herself permission to listen to her own instincts again, something she hadn't done in years. Here's why this works. Your gut knows. The heart often clings out of guilt, but the body remembers what feels right. 3 seconds is long enough to feel the truth, but short enough to bypass the excuses. So next time you pick something up, count. 1, 2, 3. No joy, no use. Then bless it and let it go. We don't declutter to throw things away. We do it to keep only what gives back to our soul. Letting go isn't about forgetting the past. It's about honoring who you are today and who you're becoming. Coming up next, we'll talk about how to sort things with clarity and speed so the pile never circles back. Ready to feel lighter? Let's keep going. 5. One-touch sorting. No maybe piles. There's a quiet little trap many of us fall into. We begin with good intentions. Pulling out drawers, opening closets, telling ourselves, today's the day I finally declutter. But before long, we're surrounded by piles. Keep, donate, trash, and then that sneaky little stack called maybe. Maybe I'll use this someday. Maybe my daughter will want this. Maybe I'm not ready to decide. And just like that, the clutter stays. Let me tell you about Helen. She's 70, a retired librarian with a heart full of stories and a garage full of maybes. She told me, every time I tried to declutter, I ended up with a dozen piles, none of which ever left the house. The clutter simply moved around, like a carousel going nowhere. Then Helen discovered the one-touch sorting rule. It's simple, but it changed everything. The idea? Every item you touch gets sorted once. Right then. You only need 3 bags or boxes. Keep, donate, trash. No maybe, no later, no let me think again next week. It might sound strict, but it's actually freeing. When Helen started using this method, she said something beautiful. I realized that every time I hesitated, I was avoiding closure, but closure is what I needed most. Here's the truth. Maybe is just fear in disguise. It's fear of regret, of loss, of choosing wrong. But in reality, not choosing at all is what keeps us stuck. So when you touch something, an old candle holder, a pair of shoes you haven't worn in years, decide right then. Do you love it? Do you use it? Does it bring peace to your space? If not, thank it for its time and let it move on. We don't declutter to throw things away. We do it to keep only what gives back to our soul. And when you start sorting with intention, your space transforms from a storage unit into a sanctuary. Next, we'll talk about the hardest things to let go of, those sentimental treasures, and how to part with them in a way that feels gentle, not painful. Let's walk through that together. 6. Sentimental clutter. Keep the memory, not the weight. Some things are easy to let go of. An old magazine, expired lotion, a stretched out sweater. But others, they cling to us, not because they're useful, but because they carry our hearts. Like the birthday card your husband wrote 20 years ago, the tiny sweater your grandson wore when he was just born, or the Christmas ornament from that trip you and your sister took before she passed. They're not just things. They're chapters of your life. Mary, a 74-year-old widow I met in Wisconsin, kept a box labeled The Good Years. It held her late husband's cufflinks, old movie tickets, faded Polaroids, even a love note scribbled on a grocery list. I couldn't bear to part with it, she whispered, because I thought if I let it go, I'd lose him all over again. But here's what Mary slowly realized. Memories aren't made of paper or fabric. They live inside us, in the way her heart still warmed when she made his favorite soup, in how she still hummed the song they danced to in '67. So we came up with a gentle way to honor the past without being held hostage by it. She chose 3 items that truly spoke to her soul: a photo, his wedding band, and that love note. The rest? She took pictures, wrote captions, and created a little digital memory book. Then, with a deep breath and wet eyes, she let the weight go. Because letting go doesn't mean forgetting. It means making room for peace, for breath, for the life that's still ahead. We don't declutter to throw things away. We do it to keep only what gives back to our soul. If you're facing a drawer of keepsakes and your heart feels torn, start small. Hold one item. Ask yourself, does the memory live here or in me? If it's the latter, you're safe to let it go. And when you're ready, we'll explore how to keep clutter from coming back, starting with the one simple rule that protects your space like a gatekeeper. Let's take a look. 7. One in, one out. Build a future safe habit. Have you ever wondered why, even after a big clean out, the clutter somehow creeps back in? It happens slowly. A new blouse here, a magazine there. Before you know it, the drawers are full again and the piece you worked so hard for starts to fade. That's exactly what happened to Helen, a 69-year-old retired librarian from Oregon. After months of gentle decluttering, she had finally cleared her closets and felt light again, like her home could finally breathe. But then came her birthday. Friends brought gifts. She bought herself a new book, a scarf, a little figurine. By autumn, her shelves were packed again. That's when she adopted the one in, one out rule. It's beautifully simple. For every new item that enters your home, one old item must go. Buy a new sweater, let go of one that no longer fits your life. Receive a gifted mug, donate the chipped one at the back of the cupboard. It's not about depriving yourself, it's about making space with intention. A small act of respect for the peace you've already created. Helen told me, now every time I bring something new home, I pause. I ask, what will I release to make room for this? And it feels respectful, like I'm protecting the life I've worked so hard to build. We don't declutter to throw things away. We do it to keep only what gives back to our soul. Try it for yourself today. Just one swap. Let in only what nourishes and let go of what no longer does. Next, we'll learn a nightly ritual that keeps your space fresh with only 5 quiet minutes a day. Let's take a look. 8. 5-minute daily reset. Turn clutter control into a ritual. There's something comforting about small rituals like putting the kettle on every morning or folding the same blanket over the back of your couch. They're quiet, dependable, and they help stitch the days together. That's what the 5-minute daily reset can become. A soft ritual that protects the peace you've worked so hard to create. I remember Linda, a 70-year-old widow from Minnesota who used to wake up feeling behind. Every morning brought missing glasses, misplaced keys, and a kitchen counter crowded with yesterday's mail. It made me feel like I was always catching up, she told me, like the house was running ahead of me and I was chasing it. One night she tried something simple. She set a timer for 5 minutes before bed. Just 5. In that time, she returned her glasses to their tray, stacked the mail, fluffed the pillows, and laid out her morning tea mug. That was it. The next morning, no rushing, no searching, just stillness. The 5-minute reset isn't about deep cleaning. It's a loving pause, a way to close the day gently and open the next one with grace. What could your reset include? Tucking away the TV remote, wiping down the sink, returning the book to its shelf. Nothing grand, just small acts that say, I care about my space. I care about myself. We don't declutter to throw things away. We do it to keep only what gives back to our soul. And tomorrow, when you open your eyes and see calm instead of chaos, you'll know 5 minutes made all the difference. Up next, we'll talk about the most powerful shift of all, the mindset that sets you free. Let's take that next gentle step. Release with love, not regret. Letting go is never just about stuff. It's about making peace with our past, our space, and sometimes even our younger selves. I've found over the years that the hardest items to release are often the ones that whisper old stories. The chipped mug your daughter painted in 3rd grade, the dress you wore to your husband's retirement party, the stack of letters you meant to organize someday. But here's a quiet truth I've come to believe. We don't lose love when we let go of objects. Love lives in memory, not in the box beneath the bed. There was a moment a few years ago when I stood in front of my hallway closet. It was packed tight. Old coats, worn shoes, boxes labeled MySC in handwriting I barely recognized anymore. And I remember asking myself, if I opened this 10 years from now, would I even know what's in here? That one question helped me see what I was holding on to wasn't stuff. It was hesitation, fear, guilt. And none of those things deserved space in my home anymore. So I started gently. I picked one item, a coat I hadn't worn in years, but used to love. I thanked it, not out loud, but in my heart. Then I donated it. And you know what? I didn't feel sadness. I felt relief, a strange, quiet kind of freedom. That act of release, it wasn't loss. It was love in motion. Many of us, especially after 60, hold on to things because they remind us of who we've been. But what if we honored who we are now, who we're still becoming? What if every item we kept truly earned its place by comforting us, inspiring us, or serving us today? We don't declutter to throw things away. We do it to keep only what gives back to our soul. So, dear friend, as we close this video, I want to leave you with this. Start where you are. Be kind to your heart. Let go with gratitude, not guilt. You are not erasing the past. You are preparing space for peace, for ease, for new chapters yet to unfold. And if this message resonated with you, I invite you to share your thoughts in the comments. What's one item you're ready to release with love today? You never know. Your story may be the exact comfort another heart needs to hear. If you'd like more videos like this, gentle, true, and made just for women like you, subscribe and join our little corner of calm and courage.